Hi guys, here's my recipe for white kimchi, a lovely salty, sour and less spicy alternative to regular kimchi. Though if you were looking for a regular kimchi recipe, you'll find plenty of them over on my blog, rookiecook.org. So start off with one head of Napa cabbage or Chinese cabbage and cut off the rough brown stem. Then cut the bottom 10 centimeters of the cabbage in half vertically and just pull it apart to separate it and halve it. Then make similar 10 centimeter cuts to each half and pull them apart as well. Now you're going to take about 120 grams of coarse sea salt and rub it into the cabbage, focusing especially on the base where the leaves are thicker. So about 30 grams of salt per quarter cabbage and really rub it in well. Then place it into a really large pot or bucket or anything that will hold the 4 quarters really comfortably. Then just continue salting the quarters until they're all really nice and liberally coated in coarse sea salt. Wipe up any salt that got away and add it to the pot with the cabbage quarters. Now pour over enough cold water so that the cabbages are just submerged. Now you're going to weigh this down with something so that the cabbage won't float up to the top and it will continue to be submerged in the salty water. In Korea they use kimchi stones, but here I'm just going to use a oval cast iron dish which is really heavy, and I'm going to set it aside then. You need to let the cabbage steep and soften in the salty water for 6 hours. Now later on you're going to need a brine solution to top up the jars if there's any space after you've put in the cabbage. So make that now with 500 milliliters of cold water and add 3 teaspoons of salt to it. I'm using fine flowing salt here. Then stir it up really well until the salt is completely dissolved. You'll know it's dissolved when the water looks completely clear again. To make the kimchi paste, you need garlic, ginger and some shredded leek. No chili here, remember, no gochugaru. This is going to be white kimchi, so it's going to be free from all that hot chili. So first you need a tablespoon of garlic puree, so I'm estimating that that's going to be about 3 peeled cloves in the NutriBullet. Then I took a good lump of root ginger and peeled it. If you're looking for accurate weight measurements, you can see that I used about 70 grams. So then just chop it up and add it to the cup of the NutriBullet. Then I remove the cup, re-zero the scale to try to accurately weigh out 75 grams of leek. I coarsely chop that up too before adding it to the cup, along with a little splash of that brine solution that we made, just to help it all break up in the blender. Then I just screwed the blade on tightly and sat it into the engine and blitzed it up until it was all really nice and pulverized. Then I just took it off, screwed on the lid onto the cup and sat that onto the cast iron dish to help weigh down the cabbage. I also put the brine solution on top of there as well to weigh it down on the other side, and I'll need 1 red chili later, so that's going to go there as well. So 6 hours later it was time for wine, and you can see that there's a bit of a Titanic situation here where the cast iron dish has sunk a bit because the cabbage is softened now in the salty solution, causing the dish to sink. That's exactly what you want though, so remove the dish and then squeeze out all the cabbages so that they're not containing any more water and set them aside on a dish. Then spoon half the paste mixture over the cabbage quarters and rub it in well, making sure you get it in between each leaf. Then turn the cabbages over and spoon the remaining paste over them and rub it in as well. Once that's done, take a clean mason jar, one with a rubber lip like this though, so that as the kimchi ferments, it'll give off gases and the gas can escape through this. Because if you use a jar that is really tightly closed, it could explode. So now take each quarter of cabbage and fold it up really tightly and force it into the jar. While gochugaru or chili flakes are not traditionally added to white kimchi, Koreans now add 1 whole red chili to be snipped up when serving for that mandatory little bit of heat. I used a 1 litre jar here, which is probably a little bit tight for 1 cabbage, but feel free to use a bigger jar or double the recipe as well for that matter. I finally did get the 4 quarters in the jar just about, but there really wasn't any room for that brine that I was supposed to add, so I just sealed it up and packed it off into the fridge to ferment for a good few weeks. If you've overfilled your jar like I have, you might want to sit it on a small plate inside your fridge to catch all the juice that will escape when the bubbles are escaping from the rubber rim. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, remove the jar from the fridge. Take out 1/4 cabbage and snip it up with the scissors. Snip over a little bit of the chili from the kimchi if you'd like a little bit of extra heat, and dig in. You might be able to see here that I'm absolutely brutal with chopsticks, so I needed to snip it all up a little bit better with the scissors before I could work away with the chopsticks. Thanks a million for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. You can check me out on social media if you like. You'll find all the links to my accounts in the description, as well as the link to my blog where you'll find this full recipe at www.rookiecook.org.